Mongoose Jake here in the Steyr Waffentrager on yet again the province map. If you haven't been watching the videos, you wouldn't realize that I've actually featured this map quite a bit, and I believe it's a combination of the vehicles I like to play, as well as my personal playstyle, which is pretty methodical and patient overall. And this map suits that playstyle, along with also, if you were hyper-aggressive in a calculated way, it also serves that well too in certain plays. But overall, a German tank destroyer with a good gun and a patient operator will generally do well on this map. Because despite, again, a lot of big games come down to the fact that you don't have a great team. Nor do you have an amazing enemy, but the enemy needs to just be a little bit better than your team, and you get to make the difference. Which is pretty much what happens here. The start of this basically begins just exactly how you expect most battles on province to take place. You have a few fast movers on each team trying to cross to the counter positions on either side. Of course, we have the west and south spawn compared to the enemy having the north and east. And as you can see, we actually have, including a VK 45.03 who made it across, which is pretty good. I mean, that's not a horribly fast, neither horribly slow heavy, but he will provide a little bit of staying power for our team. So as long as they play it well, we're in a pretty good position starting out. However, of course, you know, I wouldn't have mentioned what I started with how good games rely on a combination of a poor-ish enemy team combined with a poor-ish allied team, and mix that together with you being able to make the difference. Well, right now, outside of the fact we're down a tank, map control wise, we're actually in pretty good position. But this is province. If you look at my team, you'll see that they're already losing numbers in that eastern to north push. The eastern side, trying to push northbound, is a kill zone. And they're basically driving right into it. And that is the unfortunate thing, that if you win the east, and the west is basically the exact counter of it, but if you win your side, most people don't do this. You're supposed to drop down, whether onto the roads or the actual base of the cliff. You don't try to actually push the upper area, because it's flat. It has only some buildings for cover, but in between those buildings, you're crossing wide open terrain that has zero actual usable terrain features. It's literally a plateau. And that ends up being a shooting gallery. As you can see here, the enemy Tiger P, the moment he broke cover from behind a building, it was free damage. And the same is true for my allies. We had multiple over there, and as soon as they started pushing up from the very south end part of that side, they started to get picked off. That is one crazy AMX 13F3 artillery. But he's bait. Some people absolutely cannot resist. Ooh, there's an artillery. Have to kill it first. And for me, this works out beautifully, because I get to take what was a full health T25/2 and get multiple shots into it, as well as their Jagdpanther. Now, the Jagdpanther had stayed back, along with the Nashorn, the T25/2. They could have sat right at B9, which is where you should sit as a tank destroyer in the face of an approaching enemy. However, they decided to charge. They did finish off my teammates, But they lost a full health top tier tank destroyer, and the other top tier tank destroyer is now at about half health. So he can be finished off later. And a Nashorn, as much as I love the vehicle, it cannot push at all. That is its absolute handicap. If you're counting on a Nashorn to push, everything has went wrong. And it's almost the same with the Steyr. But the Steyr being lower profile and having a turret gives it just a little tiny degree of flexibility that the Nashorn doesn't have. So they made some big mistakes. Now, of course, here we are in the end game. My team has made even more mistakes. And we're left with just myself and Achilles, who the end result shows he's been active, but at the time he has no kills, and I haven't seen hardly any constructive movement from him. I mean, look at his current position. He's slightly down the hill behind a bush. I've been sniping as you'd expect, but my team would see that I'm moving. I'm on kill number 2, and here's kill number 3. They're seeing that I'm active. The Achilles doesn't appear to be too active, but he is clicking in chat, and he is actually platooned up with the KV-2R. I would have expected him to move to cover his platoon mate, because he could have easily went to the H1 G2 area over here in the slight to my left current position. He could have easily went over there and got some shots to help support his own platoon mate. So very odd that he didn't. I noticed that he's actually at least pinging in the map and in chat, so he is not AFK, which I had almost suspected. And there he goes moving finally. But the SG-100 is a little too far forward. I am currently, you see me moving back and forth. If I stay back here, I can't spot any approaching enemies. So I move back up to this ledge. And if I move here, I can actually, once my binoculars activate, I can spot across all the way. Because I'm thinking, okay, there's... The T-78 was up above, but what if he makes the smart play? Of course, I spot the Nashorn, but the smart play for either the Pollack or the T-78 would be to drop down onto the road where the SU is currently and actually work their way all along the cliff's base. And then they can actually, without us having a chance to detect them ahead of time, they could be right on top of us. Which, of course, suits the Pollack far better than an engagement at range against an SG-100, an Achilles, and a Steyr. All of us are going to be able to stay hidden far easier, but unfortunately for the enemy, they did neither. They didn't take the roads, they didn't take the cliff base, they stayed right where they were. And now I'm working my way around. The SU, I was hoping he wouldn't push up, because the T-78 can just double track him and circle him, and that probably is what happened. But I am going to try to pick my way around and get down on the road past the Pollack, and I've seen the health of the T-78. He's one-shottable. So I am going to do my best to stay hidden completely, get around, kill the T-78, and then I can push on the Pollack. This is where having my full health allows me to basically be a little risky and careless. We'll try to avoid the carelessness, but I can take the risk of taking the initial hit from each vehicle and still be fine. So I'm moving around, and I'm hoping to spot the T-78 before the Pollack spots me, which is what happens. And I actually secure the kill on him without even having to take a shot in return, which I was calculating I'll probably take a hit from each. 240 damage per shot, so a total of 480, and I have well more health than that. So here comes the Pollack, and I actually get a free hit into him. Now he's charging me. So all I need to do is put another hit into him. Didn't get the penetration on that, which is a bummer. But remember, I have free shots to take. Pen this, and now I'm ready to discharge him. And here is where aiming is key. Do not auto-aim on the Pollacks. They have some weird armor angles here and there. I bounce every auto-aim shot that I take. I do end up killing him, of course, but you'll see I go back to aiming, and I pen the shots that I actually took the time to aim. I bounce the shots that I auto-aimed. So don't auto-aim. But of course, this was an ace with a high caliber and a top gun. So a nice finish for what I find to be a good tank destroyer that's fun and comfortable to play. But I hope you enjoyed the game. Thanks for watching.